Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis and a critique of Chapter 13 of My Daddy is a Hero, How Chris Watts Went from Family Man to Family Killer by Lena Derhally. The title of this chapter is I Don't Want to Lose Anyone. Some of this I'm talking about today, I may get out of order. No, let me change that to will be out of order. I do that shit sometimes, especially after I've had one of my full-blown panic attacks, such as I've had 2 or 3 of in the past few days. I do that shit sometimes, and then when I try to straighten it, I make a bigger mess. I do that when I'm cleaning the house. Sometimes you just have to step back and let it be. So please bear with me, and I think you will get the idea. This was quite a long chapter. The majority of it was copied text between Shanann and her lowlife husband, or Shanann and her friends. And once I got all befuddled and shit, I needed to take a break. Quite a long break, and then my computer crashed, and I just don't even want to talk about that shit. But I'm here now, and I won't stop with this book, I promise. July 31st, Chris and Shit left behind his lady love Nikki and flew to North Carolina to see his family and to continue tormenting the hell out of Shanann. But now he could do it in person instead of on infrequent and ignored phone calls or texts that left Shanann peeved, bewildered, and royally, no, let's make it imperially pissed off. Before his flight, he was hiding all of the indecent and delicate pictures that Nikki had sent to him into his secret calculator app. His dumbass boarded the flight, and he sent a text to Shanann saying, "On the plane, love you, boo." She texted back to tell him he is a dumb shit because he was supposed to take an Uber rather than to park in the exorbitantly priced airport parking lots. Shanann said, "You never listen to me. How much per day?" Chris then texted her pictures of the parking signs and told her the number of the lot. She texted back, $130, we can't spend at the beach. Text me when you're dumbass. Text me when you land in Atlanta. It's occurred to me that the reason he did not follow her directions is because he went to the airport straight from his titillating girlfriend's house, where he probably spent the night and every last minute that he could with her. And then that would have been a trick when they all arrived home, trying to explain why the Uber was taking them to an apartment complex instead of to their house. He could have introduced everyone then, explaining this is the girl's new stepmama. It would have broken this thing wide open and laid it all on the table. And Nikki would have been like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he could have explained that he was being financially sound and saved $130. When Halfwit landed in Raleigh, North Carolina, Shanann told him to let her know when he was coming down the escalator so she could hopefully catch him falling flat on his ugly, menacing face. So she could record the girls greeting him. It was an awkward as hell reunion. When Chris was making his way to his family, an alarm started going off in the background. That was the universe trying to reach out and warn them that he is dangerous as shit. The girls were happy to see him, and he looked pretty convincing at being happy to see them as well. Remember, Miss Lena said he's an actor. But I have this video of their reunion, and I'll add it at the end. The book says, quote, later that evening before she went to bed, Shanann sent Chris a message from another room, presumably because Chris was keeping his distance and didn't want to stay with his wife. Shanann said, "Can you set the alarm for 5 a.m. and wake me, please?" He said, "Yup, I got it. Love you," Chris said, continuing to use his automatic rehearsed statements that meant nothing to him. "Love you too," Shanann sent back, end quote. Why the hell do these people text when they're just one room away from each other? Next thing you know, Shanann was throwing up something fierce. She couldn't stop vomiting and had a horrible headache. Frankie kept a watch over his sister. Fucktard couldn't give 2 shits about his pregnant wife. He slept soundly in the bed without a care in the world, and Shanann was on the couch in between vomiting sessions. He didn't have a chivalrous bone in his stumpy little body. He never even came out to check on her. He was just cold, barren and unfeeling inside, except when Nikki would send him indecent, racy, pornographic photos of what was waiting for his dumb ass ship for brains back in Colorado. Frankie was like, what the fuck? He used to be such a pansy, nurturer, caretaker, and now all of a sudden he gave zero fuck. Frankie's mind was blown. This shit just didn't make sense. It didn't add up the way his brother-in-law was acting. He was normally a very caring, soft-hearted, lily-livered wimp. Person. Offering advice to Frankie and helping him with his brakes on his vehicle. Nimrod was very mechanically inclined. What the hell happened to his brother-in-law? He was taken aback on how differently he was behaving. This is what Miss Lena said about Frankie's thoughts on this night. And this part is, of course, from Discovery. Quote, in an interview with law enforcement, Shanann's brother, Frankie Jr., mentioned he thought it was very odd that Shanann got very sick the evening Chris arrived in North Carolina. She spent the entire evening vomiting and complaining of a bad headache. Frankie spent all night checking on his sister and thought it was bizarre that Chris couldn't care less that Shanann was sick. He told investigators, quote, she slept on the couch, which I thought was odd, and that he never came out to see her because he used to be nurturing, and I was almost like, dude, you're a little much. He went from being the best guy I could have picked for my sister to could care less about what happened to them. I hugged him a week ago, end quote. The chapter reads, quote, in Chris's deleted internet search history, he had typed 80 milligrams of oxycodone will, ... end quote. After speculation online about whether Chris gave Shanann oxycodone to try to make her miscarry, he confessed that accusation was true. In his letters to Cadle, he has given conflicting stories about the oxycodone. At first, he told Cadle he gave the oxycodone twice, once in North Carolina to try to cause a miscarriage because he thought it would be easier for him to leave her for Nikki if she were not pregnant, and immediately before her death. He later changed the story and said he gave it to her only once in North Carolina to try and get Shanann to miscarry, end quote. Well, ever since the whole plagiarism thing with copycat Cadle clusterfuck conundrum, I don't know what to make of the whole oxy thing. It sounds plausible, since Shanann got suddenly and violently ill the night of Chris and Shit's arrival, but honestly, I would be quite nauseous too at the sight of him. Just saying. But seriously, I don't know if I believe any of this shit now. He's a goddamn fibbing liar pants. That much we do know to be true. Bless her heart, though, no matter what it was, Shanann was not feeling good at all. She was disclosing that she had trouble urinating, she was lightheaded, and experiencing a numb and tingly feeling, and had itching all over. She also had migraines that were not going away with her Imitrex medication. She was shaky, had blurry vision, and of course, vomiting. Asset was not sympathetic at all. He was probably still undergoing that peculiar sensation thing that he wasn't sure if it was love. I'm sure there was no room in that little peanut head for any other thoughts. What the fuck should have happened should have been her husband on one side and her brother on the other, putting her into the car and taking her to the emergency room. Pronto. I totally don't understand how someone could sit idly by while someone else is violently ill, but it appears he's the one that caused it. But when I think of how Shanann, Bella, and Cece were living with this ticking time bomb and had no clue, it makes me feel terror-stricken, to say the least. This is one of the reasons I can't let this go. There seems to be no way of knowing what was coming for them. Shanann was fighting for her marriage. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Miss Lena says, quote, it's very likely Chris is telling the truth here, at least the part where he secretly slipped her oxycodone in North Carolina. It may have been after this failed attempt of getting rid of the baby that he started to seriously plot the murders, end quote. And I don't know. I'm still on the fence about this, about if he even slipped her some oxy. but it would explain her sudden vomiting that night. I do get that. And if he did do this, where did the drugs come from? Was it just one tablet or pill of 80 milligrams, or was it a total dose of 80 milligrams, meaning multiple pills? They went to Myrtle Beach for a family vacation. Fucktard was distracted with Nikki sending him nude selfies and would lose his patience with and snap at the children. This was out of character for him, but so was the last entire month and a half, or even longer than that if we're to believe his co-worker's story of the video I posted the other day of Anthony Brown. There's no reason he would have made up what he said of Pissface and Nikki. He didn't know the backstory at the time, only that Chris and Shit had disposed of his loving family at Survey 319, and that he had confessed, at least to killing Shanann, and had been arrested. If you will remember, he said he noticed them talking in an intimate way about 4 or 5 months ago, from the time he had been interviewed, which was in September 2018. Plus that numbnuts would gawk at Nikki whenever she would sashay into a room at work. Shanann told him she was fine with him seeing his family, but she did not want the girls to go with him because she was still pissed that his parents blew off Cece's birthday party and for the whole damn Nutgate debacle that caused the sudden and disastrous collapse of the warm and fuzzy bonding North Carolina trip. August 4th, Nikki spent 2 hours looking at wedding dresses. Are you serious? After only a few weeks? Or was it really longer than that? Did Pisshead know about this? But anyway, while Nikki was planning her dark wedding, Shanann composed a long-ass text to Nimrod. I'll read it in its entirety, as one can read it from Discovery anyway. If you listen closely, you can hear Shanann's finely manicured nails click-clicking as she was passionately and furiously texting to Lunkhead. She was double pissed, which, as one would assume, is being pissed again when one was already pissed. You can tell by the length of this text. Quote, truth came out last night. I didn't create no dagger between you and your dad. That was done by your mom and your dad, and I won't change a thing. My daughter's life is way more important, and you better believe I wanted to say a whole lot more than I did, but I was being the bigger person. I didn't tell your dad not to come to the party. I didn't tell him not to text or call your granddaughter on her birthday. I didn't tell him to start acting like he only has 2 grandkids instead of 4. I didn't block your family on Facebook. He did. Myself and your kids have nothing to say to them. They do. They owe your kids their life. Your parents' home isn't a safe zone. Your mom isn't safe. You can let them tell you what you want, but I didn't tell anyone to stop loving your kids or stop acting like it. He did that, not me. You can believe I created this dagger, but I didn't do that. I stood up for our kids. I advocated and protected our children. I don't ever want to hear, I'm sorry I killed your kid because I was stupid. That would kill me. These kids are my world, and I have to protect them from the evil of the world. I just need to break in briefly for being Shanann's voice to say, it's too bad that Shanann didn't recognize that the evil of the world was her own husband and her children's father. Let me go back to that last part. I just had to say that. However, how would she have known? She couldn't have known. That's what's so troubling. I don't ever want to hear, I'm sorry I killed your kid because I was stupid. That would kill me. These kids are my world, and I have to protect them from the evil of the world. I shouldn't have to protect them from evil family. Our kids deserve the same love and attention the other kids get, nothing less. I'm not accepting I'm sorry from your mom because she doesn't mean it, and she knew what she was doing. I made it very clear not to eat it around Celeste because she doesn't understand. Way before that happened. She's evil and willing to risk your daughter's life just to get under my skin. You and your dad are no different if you're okay with her behavior. There's nothing wrong with me, and I'm not crazy. I just love my kids way too much. From the day I left, you never said I missed you before I said it. Something changed when I left. You may be happier alone, and that's fine. You can be alone. This pregnancy, you have failed to acknowledge it, or to acknowledge how I'm feeling. The first trimester is the scariest and most dangerous, yet we can lose this baby at any point till delivery. I'm not going to be treated this way for having the balls to protect our family and kids. I should get a gold fucking medal for handling it the way I did, because I had a lot of choice words I wanted to say to her, and your dad for his stupidity. No one stands up to your mom and dad for that. He's just as guilty by not doing anything. I have nothing to do with him stopping sharing memories of his grandkids. What does that have to do with me? They are fucking with their kids' feelings, and I'm not okay with it. Then Miss Lena says, in a small twist of foreshadowing, Shanann continued, I am their mother, and I will protect them. I have enough to worry about with the world out there. I'm not going to worry about family. I will just remove it. I also don't control what you do. If you want to go hang out with your parents today, by all means do so, but without us. Don't put it on me why you can't go. You are your own person. Fuckface knew he had better say something after Shanann had spent all that time writing the text. It had better not go to waste. But he's a waste of space, an empty chair, a worthless person, blatantly unhelpful, worthless, useless, completely without value, incompetent, a colossal squandering of a human being. Normally, texting is the easiest way for you to ignore someone that you don't want to talk to. However, they were in the same house, so she could have grabbed his phone out of his little hands to bounce it off of his head. And then she might have seen the naughty pictures of his naughty secret girlfriend. And for those that don't know, a naughty girl is one that needs to be punished, usually by fucking her really hard by the one that she was being naughty to or with. If Shanann had found out about these risque photos, she would have had one more thing to be cheesed off about. I'm pretty sure this one would have escalated straight to the top. But the chapter continues with CW's sorry-ass, feeble attempt at an adult texting conversation. In his most lengthy response to Shanann in a long time, Chris finally responded, quote, These kids mean the world to me and always will. Yes, my mom totally screwed up in a huge way, more than a huge way. I don't know what I would have done if something had happened to Cece. These kiddos are the light of my life, and seeing their sweet, incredible smiles and playfulness makes me smile every day. I'm sorry for the way I've been acting. I've been in my head, and I haven't been right at all. End quote. Correct, CW, you jackass. One would not be right at all in your head. What an oxygen thief he is. Miss Lena says, quote, There are several psychopathic traits highlighted in this text. He is clearly lying about everything. He would not have cared if something happened to Cece. In fact, thoughts of killing his entire family had entered his mind at this point, end quote. But let's read this shit again. Miss Lena said, There are several psychopathic traits highlighted in this text. He is clearly lying about everything. He would not have cared if something happened to Cece. In fact, thoughts of killing his entire family had entered his mind at this point, end quote. And oh my god, y'all, when she said that, it sent chills through me. Can you imagine sleeping next to someone that is capable of this for years? And I wonder, was he pissed off deep inside this whole time? Or does it just suddenly come out one day? This is very chilling. I have to keep reminding myself that Miss Lena told us he's an actor. My god, that had to be exhausting. So was it the anything goes sex with Nikki that woke that sleeping beast within? I hope she answers that at some point. He was doing such a head fuck on Shanann, such a coward baby killer. Speaking of the naughty, nasty girl, I recently started watching this series on True Crime in Colorado on YouTube. It's called Unmasking Nicole Kessinger. I'm going to link part 1 in the description of this video. There's a total of 5 parts. Please, you guys have to go and watch this. My mind was flipping out when I watched it. Creaky knew each other and have been involved longer than we have been led to believe. She stalked both Dunderhead and Shanann. You just really have to watch this series. they explain to you a lot. I just found a few things in the discovery myself, but this just pales in comparison to what True Crime in Colorado has found. For example, September 1st, 2017, Kessinger searched the internet for the name Shanann Watts. August 8th, 2018, Kessinger searched Google on topics related to marrying your mistress. Discovery page 576 says she first met him in May or early June. Their relationship was sexual shortly after they met and remained sexual consistently. Chris had sent her pictures of his penis and workout photos. Ew. That's nasty. I just can't. I just want to review with you guys some of the discovery. It's kind of like binge watching a show on Netflix. It takes a while to get to know the storyline and the characters, and if you go back to the beginning and start watching again, so much starts to make sense to you, and you have all these aha moments and sudden realizations and insights and comprehension. Discovery says, quote, he, Chris, arrived in North Carolina on July 31st, 2018, and they went to the beach August 1st, 2018. Shanann's father was with them for a few days, so he and Shanann were rarely alone together. This is according to Discovery page 587, Tammy Lee talking to CW for the pre-polygraph interview. Like I said, this video, the timeline that I'm doing is kind of all over the place, and I apologize, but you know, I had one of my meltdown panic attack things and with my computer crashing, and do you want me to get this video out or not? Because if we're gonna wait for me to get it all making sense, that's just not gonna happen, and y'all are over expecting from me. August 2nd, 2018, phone data review, Discovery page 2099. From 1:38 p.m. to 1:41 p.m., a video and photographs were taken of the children playing on trampolines at the Pavilion Park. At 5:41 p.m., Watts transferred a necklace image into his secret calculator app. Discovery states, I'm certain Watts communicated far more with Kessinger than is reflected in his phone data, perhaps facilitated through the secret calculator application. It became apparent he was receiving assorted nude images of Kessinger that she was taking by herself and sending to Watts, which he then stashed in the application to prevent Shanann from ever seeing them. At 10:40 p.m., Watts transferred images of Kessinger into his secret calculator application. August 3rd, 2018, at 9:23 p.m., Watts transferred images of Kessinger into his secret calculator application. August 4th, at 12:45 a.m., for over 2 hours, Kessinger searched Google for wedding dresses. What an idiot. Both of them. Now, these next couple of texts between Pissface and Shanann, I actually read them last video when I looked them up from Discovery, not knowing that Miss Lena was going to refer to them in this chapter. No harm in reading them again, though. Miss Lena kind of explains what's going on here. This is from August 4th, 2018, the same day that for over 2 hours Kessinger searched Google for wedding dresses. What a trollop. Shanann said, quote, yes, that I created this dagger between you and your dad, and that wasn't me. That was them. I protected our daughter from their stupidity. They created that, and you belong with them thinking otherwise. I didn't tell your dad to remove himself from the kid's life. I did and do not deserve to be treated the way you have. I defended our daughter, Shanann fired back. Fartface said, yes, you protected our daughter, and I thank you 1,000,000 times 1,000,000. I don't think they are innocent in any of this. They do want to be in the kid's life, and I'm not sure they even know how to right now. They should have swallowed whatever they needed to and came to Cece's birthday party and called her, and shouldn't have blocked all social media contact with them. I don't care what they do with us, just as long as they love and respect the kids. I'm not used to having a relationship with my dad. I should have just called him before it got to this point where it got in my head. I didn't, and that's my fault, end quote. Why does he always talk about his stupid little peanut head? Fuckface responded in his typical conflict-averse fashion. He was used to talking people down from the ledge, and he was good at it. He automatically reverted to his default way of operating. That's from Miss Lena. Only she didn't call him Fuckface. She called him Chris. That was me. Then Miss Lena lists a couple of more of Shanann's texts, including, "I will never trust your parents alone with our kids, ever. This is the week we started dating 8 years ago. They ruin everything special. I won't forgive you or them for that. I'm tired of it. I'm the one that takes care of you, not them. You're making me feel like complete shit these last several weeks, especially this week, and I'm not okay with it, and I won't change my ways when it comes to our kids. I always defended you, always." End quote. 3 minutes later, Shanann added to her text message, quote, "I'm not asking you to choose who to be with. I shouldn't have to ask you to choose right from wrong. You are not happy, then you know where to go. Worst summer ever." Meanwhile, back in Colorado, Nikki was searching Facebook for Chris and Shanann's profiles. Nice. I thought she wasn't on social media. I thought she didn't know any damn thing. So yeah, if she was looking up Facebook, then she knew Shanann was pregnant. I knew she knew all along anyway. Fuck her. On August 7th, 2018, this is according to Discovery, he and Shanann packed up and flew back home to Colorado. On August 8th, 2018, he returned to work. And remember, August 8th, 2018, at 7:25 p.m., Kessinger searched on topics related to marrying your mistress. This was also the day Shanann had her sonogram. On August 10th, 2018, Shanann flew out to Arizona with her friend Nicole Atkinson. I would like to add to those that said, well, Shanann didn't need to flip out about the whole Nutgate calamity. She should have approached Cindy calmly. My response to that is, she had already had one dire emergency with Celeste, where she ended up in the emergency room with an anaphylaxis reaction. Sometimes the next attack is even worse. You don't know what to expect. And Shanann had already gone over protocol with Cindy, which I'm sure that pissed Cindy off because Cindy wants to be the woman in charge, the alpha female, if you will. You know, and she didn't like Shanann, quote unquote, telling her what to do, but Cece had a deadly allergy to tree nuts. So you don't fuck around with that. My thought is she was probably mentally doing an inventory of where she left her bag that had the EpiPen in it. She was panicked. That's all I can say. She flipped. I would have too. And since Shanann is way too classy and kind, gentle, sweet, empathetic, caring, giving, loving, she's just an all-around good person. She's polite. She has good manners, and she's a very pleasant person to know. It's been said. And it's been said she's a good friend. So I'll say this for her. Her husband was a piss-faced, booger-eating, yellow-bellied, get the fuck out, useless, take a hike, bloody idiot, go to fucking hell, golly gee, damn you to hell, you crazy bastard, asinine stupid dick, oh snap, preposterous, fucking idiot, degenerate dickhead, burn in hell, fuck out of my face, half-assed jackwagon, imbecile, stupid fuck, total dick, slow-witted, fucking idiot, stupid asshole creep, douche lord scoundrel lunatic, son of a monkey, silly goose, stupid son of a bitch, damn fool, dag nabbit, dumb shit dummy, fucking prick, giant douche, bitch ass, dumbbell, egghead, butthead, for Pete's sake, fuckhead, go lick a duck, go to hell, jump in a lake, bite a snake, come out with a bellyache, you asshole. August 5th, 2018, CW, aka stupid wicked son of a bitch, jerk off asshole. So keep that in mind for future when I say CW. But on August 5th, 2018, CW and Shanann texted one another about Chris visiting his family for the rest of the North Carolina trip. He wanted the children to see his grandmother. I believe I saw somewhere that his grandmother recently passed away. And since Miss Lena is simply quoting from Discovery, I'm going to read all of this with their text. Are you wanting to go see Mama tomorrow, or family too? Shanann asked. I was hoping both. If not, that's okay too. I wanted to see Mama in the morning if possible. You wanted the girls to see her too, right? Chris replied. If both, then that's fine, but alone. If just Mama, we will go. They saw her twice and they can go again, but I'm standing strong with your family. You can use the truck and see both, but I just need to know. I'm not going to be the reason you don't see them. So if you do, you just go. Shanann responded, I know they would love to see Mama one more time. Chris wrote, I bet Mama would love to see them too since she remembers them. I don't want to leave anyone without a car here though either. Should I have someone pick me up at the nursing home so the girls can still see Mama? I'm not going to be where there's a chance we will run into your family. I'm not kidding, Christopher. I'm having a bad experience these last few days with my pregnancy, and I'm spotting. I'm not dealing with it well. Have your parents pick you up when kids go down tonight and then do what you need to do. And she meant business because she called him Christopher, so he probably knew that. I want kids to see Mama. I will make sure there's zero chance anyone will see them, Chris reassured Shanann. Later that evening, Shanann sent a screenshot quote to his phone. It said, Husbands, stand up for your wife and protect her from the attacks that come from the people close to you. Let your family and friends know that when it comes to your wife and marriage, there is a line they cannot cross. If you have to take sides, then always take your wife's side. From the day you said I do, your wife displaces your parents, friends, and siblings. Apart from God, your wife now occupies and assumes the privileged first place of honor in your life. Oftentimes, it requires that you lovingly stand up for your wife in front of your parents, especially your mother. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no mother, father, brother, sister, friend, or boss separate. End quote. Miss Lena says that Shanann continued to send texts to her dumbass husband, desperately trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with him. She wanted the old Chris back. The quiet, docile, obedient, passive, accommodating pushover husband that she knew and loved so well. Quote, I don't know how you fell out of love with me in 5.5 weeks, or if this has been going on for a long time, but you don't plan another baby if you're not in love. Kids don't deserve a broken family. I left, you couldn't take your hands off of me. You show up and I have to practically ask for a kiss in the airport. Being away from you, it's not the help I missed, because I can handle that. It was exhausting, but with school, that's not hard. I miss the smell of you, you touching me when I'm cooking, you touching me in bed, you touching me, period. I missed holding you and snuggling with you. I missed eating with you, watching TV with you. I missed staring at you. I missed making love with you. I missed everything about you. I couldn't wait to touch you, hold you, kiss you, make love to you, smell you, laugh with you. I couldn't wait to celebrate 8 years with you. If you were done, don't love me, don't want to work this out, not happy anymore, and only staying because of the kids, I need you to tell me. Would you stay with me if we didn't have kids? I just don't get it. You don't fall out of love in 5 weeks. How can you sleep? Our marriage is crumbling in front of us and you can sleep. Yeah, he slept like a damn big baby so he could continue the mindfuck on Shanann. She was disturbed, exhausted, and unable to sleep, and he was well rested, so everything was going as planned. Shanann was confused and stunned at the way things were going. It made no sense to her. Asshat was in his usual state of blissful ignorance and unawareness. Let's not forget, he is empty-headed, unintelligent, and foolish. He has a very small, pea-sized brain. The next day, August 6th, Chris was looking up the distance to the moon. I'd love to do a Ralph Cramden on him. To the moon, Alice. But Miss Lena says that Mr. Talk was good at mimicking phrases and words. You mean like? But he would often say, I love you to the moon and back, so I get it. He's like a parrot now. He's in a cage, his jail cell, and he mimics. And he's cuckoo, too. She says he knew what to say, but that it held no weight. He's so empty, like his head. Just empty, hollow, shallow, nothingness. She says he may have confused lust with love when it came to Nicky. You think? The chapter reads, for the first time in his life, something was stirring in Chris, but completely unaware of his own emotions. He needed an online website to figure them out. I wonder if these new emotions for Nicky were piquing his curiosity to find out how much love existed between the moon and the earth. What does that last part mean? How much love existed between the moon and the earth. She's thinking on Cricky's level now, and it hurts my head. I want her to stop. I don't want to go there. I find it frightening and scary, not to mention obnoxious. Let's get back to that first part of that weird statement Miss Lena made. For the first time in his life, something was stirring in Chris, but completely unaware of his emotions, he needed an online website to figure them out. But my thought is, didn't he feel lust with Shanann? How did he know he wanted to continue dating her if he wasn't feeling lust and love and attraction? How did he get the idea to propose marriage? There was a definite magnetism between them. You can see it plain as day in their engagement and wedding photos. He has said that his wedding day was the happiest of his life. Is Miss Lena saying he never felt lust before he met Nicky? I don't believe that. That doesn't make sense. I'm so confused. Now I have more questions than answers. Is she saying that Chris and shit thinks love is measured in miles? I doubt it. At least I hope she's not saying that. Maybe he does. Who the hell knows? He's different one, that's for damn sure. Quote, your only response last night was, I don't want to lose the kids. You used me just to have a boy. Only reason you wanted another kid? I can't handle this and you're okay with it. Why didn't you just tell me you were done? Why get me pregnant? I'm not just staying because of the kids, Chris replied. They are my light and that will not change. I didn't fall out of love in 5 weeks. That's impossible. I don't want to erase 8 years just like that. I'm not sure what's in my head. Here we go with his head again. It's empty. Just accept it. I don't know if it's my parents, the third pregnancy, or if I'm just scared or what. I didn't use you. That's what you said last night. You can't even say why you're married to me. That's a stab in the heart. You didn't even say you didn't want to lose us. You said you don't want to lose the kids. I don't want to lose anyone, Chris replied. Shanann responded in another ironic and sad hint of foreshadowing of what was to come. The whole time Shanann was texting her robot husband, trying to get answers, he continued to transfer raunchy, wayward pictures of his mistress into his secret calculator app. Nicky was keeping him busy, sending bad girl pics to him to keep him lusting after her. Why did Miss Lena leave out the part that Nicky told him to, quote, fix things with your wife, and then confuse Stupidhead by sending the nude and semi-nude selfies every single day he was gone on his trip to North Carolina? Why would that be left out of the book? That was huge. She said fix things with your wife and then sends nude pictures every few minutes. Shanann told him she had fallen deeper in love over the summer because she missed him, and she was outraged that he basically told her he was done, no longer in love. Damn, that had to hurt. I know it did. His parents didn't want to take him to her that last night they were in North Carolina. She was with her parents, but his dad was willing to bring him in the morning. Shanann flipped her lid, saying they were leaving the next day and that she needed help. She was going to go pick him up, but Papa Ronnie changed his mind and said he would drive Chris over to Shanann's parents' house. Before they left, Chris took photos of the photos in his parents' house, but even when he got to where Shanann was, they continued to text. I don't understand this. I guess because I didn't grow up with a cell phone or even have a cell phone in most of my adult years. For the longest time, I refused to get a smartphone, but you have to have one now. But I always forget my phone when I leave the house. It makes my family crazy. Anyway, Miss Lena continues to quote from Discovery, so I'm just going to read it. It's basically the entire chapter with a few of her surmises thrown in. Quote, I was trying to get you to fucking hug me, make me feel safe. This is much deeper than the lack of conversation. Make me feel like everything is going to be okay. It will be okay. This will all get fixed, Chris replied, reverting back to his aversion to conflict. No, I don't need words, damn it. You told me you don't want this baby. I'm scared, okay? Chris retorted. You wanted the truth and I told you how I felt. You hold me after that conversation. You hold me. If you want this to fucking last, you make me feel safe after that bomb. Don't you get it? How many times do I have to ask you to hold me? You hate me that much?" Shanann asked, seemingly feeling overwhelming anxiety. "I don't hate you. I will fix this. It will get better." Chris was lying again, clearly not knowing what else to say to calm down his wife. "You didn't answer me. I'm begging you to hold me, and still you can't." "I don't know where my head is at. I will fix it, though," Chris repeated. Again with him talking about his head and not knowing where it's at. It's attached to your fucking shoulders, you idiot. I think it just needs to be taken off because clearly he cannot handle having a head. Shanann knew in her gut something else was wrong. She knew she wasn't crazy. She needed Chris to tell her what the hell was really going on. She texted back to him, "This isn't the only thing. This doesn't get your head all screwed up. Something changed in the last 5 weeks. Something you won't say." Chris didn't respond. Shanann was an emotional wreck. She also was feeling physically ill from the pregnancy. It was all taking a toll, and she did not want to confide in her parents. But they're not blind, and they could see that Shitweasel wasn't being his usual congenial and agreeable self. So she reached out to a few of her friends. "Addie, he's changed. I don't know who he is anymore." "What do you mean?" Addie asked. "He hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me, except for when I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. He's been distant since I left." "What's the deal with his parents? Maybe he's distant because of that. Was he on board with you leaving for that long? Could he be resentful?" Addie asked. "He said they apologized and they didn't want to come to Celeste's party because they were scared of me." "That's bullshit. If you're sincerely sorry and you love your son and grandkids, you reach out and say that. He was totally on board. We decided it together. Quality time with everyone. I'm supposed to go tomorrow for a 4D ultrasound and gender reveal next Saturday. I just want to cry. We've never had a problem in our relationship like this, no joke. Never. This is total left field. He was submissive to his parents last night as usual. He hasn't asked me once about how I'm feeling or the baby. I was vomiting the other day so bad and he just existed. I don't know where my head is at." Again? Off with his head. "I'll fix it," he texted me. "Aw, honey, it'll be okay. Just give him time," Addie said. "He's adjusting to the idea of the baby. He's scared." "What is he, a puppy?" "He shouldn't be doing this to you, but he's a good guy. He will fix it." "What if he really doesn't love me anymore?" Shanann texted. What Shanann didn't realize was that Chris never truly loved her to begin with, and he was incapable of real love. "Not possible, honey. He loves you," Addie replied. How can Miss Lena say that Shanann didn't realize was that Chris truly never loved her to begin with and he was incapable of real love? She's just going to drop that in there in 2 sentences and not explain. She got this from what? Watching YouTube videos and reading Discovery? I mean, I wish she would provide like a whole chapter. Maybe she will in the coming chapters, but that needs a lot more than just dropping those 2 sentences in there. August 8th, CW went back to work and Shanann was texting with a friend named Sarah. Sarah asked how things were going. Shanann said she tried to initiate sex the night before and was turned down. "Girl, just thank your lucky stars you didn't want to catch any of those cootie things that NK had, believe me." She had been crying a lot and said she felt sick to her stomach. Personally, I think it was the thought of CW accepting her proposal of having sex that made her sick to her stomach. I know it makes me sick to my stomach. Quote, "He said he feels like there's a lack of communication, and it's not for me. I sent him 12 texts over the month, begging him to talk to me. He fell asleep at 7 or 8 p.m. I tried talking to him after rejection last night, and me crying for over an hour alone on the couch. He slept. I kicked his sorry ass out of bed, and I refuse to sleep on the couch anymore this week. Told him this morning to not come home today if he can't tell me the damn truth on what the hell is wrong. We're supposed to go to an ultrasound tonight, and he doesn't want the baby. He'd abort if I said it was okay." End quote. In Sarah's mind, it seemed the only logical explanation was an affair. She asked Shanann if it was a possibility. "He said he's not having an affair," Shanann said. "Are you sure?" Sarah asked. "Honestly, no. But what else would make him do a complete 360? We couldn't get enough of each other before I left." She also told Sarah that she kicked his sorry ass out of bed after she cried for an hour on the couch. Wait, didn't he tell his lady love that he had been sleeping in the basement? She also said, "Told him this morning to not come home today if he can't tell me the damn truth on what the hell is wrong." She was also texting with Cassie and Nikki that day. All of them were as baffled as Shanann. She explained that CW said he didn't want a divorce right away, and Shanann told them she would fight for full custody. Cassie's husband Josh checked in with Chris to ask him about the baby's ultrasound. Does that sound like a guy thing? I'm sure Cassie put him up to it. "Are you excited for the ultrasound? Today's the day, right?" Josh asked. "Just got back to work. Yep, today's the day. I'm excited. It's at 7, Chris replied. While Shanann searched the internet for couples therapy and emotion-focused therapy, Nikki Kessinger was searching topics about marrying your mistress. Josh texted CW again that night asking about the sex of the baby and was told they would find out at the gender reveal. Of course, that never happened. These gender reveal celebrations baffle me. Just because there's technology available to determine the baby's sex before birth doesn't mean you have to do it. This was a very expensive 3 or 4D ultrasound that is optional. I'm old school. I liked waiting until the birth to find out the gender of the baby. That was part of the fun to me and my husband. It's hard to find gender-neutral newborn clothing anymore. Things are just so different now. I'm glad I'm the age I am. And that will end this chapter. I'll pick up with chapter 14 in the next video. Thank you for listening.
Can't run. Hey! Hey! Airplane. I know. It is. Yes, baby. I know, but we'll be back. He got you. Hi. Oh, he's lucky. You're so nice. Mommy.